Hey everybody, welcome back to Modern with Randy. I am Randy, and today I'm talking about a list that I've been playing and took to a second place finish in my local RCQ here. Real quick, guys, as always, if you like the content I'm doing, go ahead and give it a like, subscribe to the channel, all that fun jazz, and let's get into it. So, this past weekend, I took a deck, I took Amalia to a RCQ, one of my local RCQs. It was a 30-player RCQ. Um, as a whole, and I kind of decided to go over this deck list and kind of go over what happened and how I did with it. So real quick, I'm just going to go over the Amalia list. If you're familiar with Pioneer, you're familiar with Amalia, this is a little bit of a different list for sure from what you're normally looking at. So let's kind of go over real quick. So right now I'm on 2 Lunar Veteran, I'm on 1 Selfless Savior, and I'm on 3 C-Note Scout, which is a little bit different. Most people are down to 1 or 2. I'm playing 2 Deep Counterbats in the main just to have some better interaction with my opponent. Obviously, I'm on the 4 Prosperous Innkeeper. Great card, great combo card, and of course we're on 4 Walker, 4 Amalia. Don't need to explain why you're on 4 Amalia in the Amalia deck. I'm on 1 Diana, or the Soul Seeper. She's just been a great little value card. You can get a little gain here and there, making him lose a life. It's a great little just one-up bullet. It's not usually too much. If I have it, it's great. If I don't, it's also great. It's not a big deal. I'm on 2 Extraction Specialists. Card has been great for me as a whole. 1 Skyclave Apparition, just as removal, and I'm on 3 Sentinel of the Nameless City. Now this is a card that a lot of people aren't on, or they're on 1, maybe 2, or they're on the sideboard. I think this card is amazing. I can't tell you how great this card felt all day when I was playing it. I almost was never sad to cast this card at all. So the reason why I'm on 3 of these essentially is because it pairs so great with Wildgrowth Walker with making maps. So you get to make a map token, and then Wildgrowth Walker says that whenever a creature explores, put a +1/+1 counter on it, and you gain 3 life. So Sentinel plus Wildgrowth Walker is just lights out against a lot of the aggro decks we have around here, like the Bordos, the Gruul, things like that. Being able to gain 3 life, I can target my Sentinel, make it, hopefully make it, a 4/5, make a Wildgrowth Walker a 2/4, and that's just so much defense for them to get through to deal me any damage, right? Plus I'm gaining 3 life, it's just great as a whole. Really enjoying that. As well as Sentinel has Vigilant, it's great for the control decks and things like that. Really just been a big fan of this card as a whole. Has put in work. I'm also only on 3 Collected Companies to make room. I'm on 4 Chords still, and then I'm on 1 Return to the Ranks and 2 Lively Dirge. So if you guys don't know what this card is, I don't blame you. It's a uncommon from the Thunder Junction set, or Outlaws of Thunder Junction set. So 2 in a black, and then it has Spree, and it's a sorcery. So you can add, so for 3 mana, you can search your library for a card, put it into your graveyard, and then shuffle. And then for 2 more mana, so for 4 mana or 5 mana altogether, you can return up to 2 creature cards with total mana value of 4 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. Pretty decent as a whole. It lets you go and grab 2 cards, lets you go grab like a Wildgrowth Walker and Amalia if you need to combo off from your graveyard to your you've already been board wiped or they've been destroyed, things like that. It lets you just kind of grab some pieces, and I really enjoy it. It also helps you set it up too. So for 5 mana, you can go get, so like you have Prosperous Innkeeper already out, and then you can just go for 5 mana, go grab Amalia and Wildgrowth Walker, and then go off in that same turn. So it's kind of nicer than Return to Ranks because you can go grab the pieces you're missing, which is really good. And then of course we're on the 1/8 of Flux Reservoir. We all know why this is here, guys. Let's not pretend we don't know why. I'm on 22 lands, nothing too special. Basically, the biggest thing I did with the mana base, because I don't have mana conflicts and I refuse to pay like the $30 it is per each one. Obviously, if I get a DC, I'll probably end up picking those up and biting my teeth and gritting them. But I'm also on 4 Blooming Marsh, 1 Beseiju. I'm playing 1 Forest in the main as well. 4 Overgrown Tunes, the 1 Plains everyone else is on. 4 Razor Thickets. 4 Temple Gardens, 1 Takanuba, and I'm on 2 Sun Petal Groves as well. Which I might end up splitting that and being 1 Sun Petal Grove and 1 Woodland Cemetery instead. But overall, I had a blast with this deck. I think it's really good. And then quickly going over my sideboard here. So it's on 1 Skyclave Apparition, 1 Ruthless Lawbringer, new card again from Thunder Junction. If you guys don't know what it is, quickly go over it. It's a 3/2 for 1 white, 1 black, and a generic. It's a vampire assassin, and then when it enters the battlefield, you can sacrifice another creature. When you do, destroy target non-land permanent. Card's been really good, just being able to destroy anything that I need to. Hits planeswalkers, which is huge. I was playing, 1 Get Lost as well, 3 Fatal Push because Mono Green's been popping up a lot. 1 Haywire Might, 2 Thoughtseize, 2 Tameo Safekeeping, Knight of Just Shadow, which honestly I probably must cut this card. In my local meta, at least, no one is on Amalia. I've been to a couple different RCQs. I've yet to see anyone playing it. That's kind of why I wanted to take it, because I didn't feel like people were prepared for it. 1 Remersal Cleric, which I had here just for the Phoenix matchup, because I wasn't sure how bad Phoenix was going to be for me, and I know that there is, quite a few people on Phoenix around here. But, and then 1 Archon of Amalia and 1 Grand Abolisher. Grand Abolisher is a house. If you are playing Amalia and it's not in your sideboard, it should be in your sideboard. It is so good against the blue-white control list. It's not funny. And you can just be able to buy it back with Distraction Specialist, things like that. It's just huge. Great card. But I thought I'd go over real quick of how the deck did and how it felt essentially. So round 1 I played against blue-red Phoenix. Stock Phoenix list essentially. Game 1 we pressured him with Sentinel and kind of forcing him to keep us off the combo. We ended up comboing out, I think, turn 6-7 like that, when he had to kind of go for it and kind of apply pressure to me, and went for the combo and just won. They can't really beat, getting up to 80 life. That's not something Phoenix can really come back from most of the time. They can still beat you from it, but like, I had 80 life in a 2020 Amalia. Like, they had to, too much pressure, not enough they can do. Game 2, he was able to remove a lot of my stuff, kept me off tilt essentially, or kept my board cleared. I was able just to beat down with a Literature. I don't know why that card was hard to name. Game 3 was able to combo off, kind of forced him to have it, just by having interaction and things like that, and he didn't have it, and we just won. Round number 2 we lost to Mono Green, which I think is a good matchup as a whole. I don't think it's a terrible matchup, but game 1 we were forced to mulligan to 4, and still almost got there. He was just a turn faster because he was able to keep 6. If we had 1 more turn, we could have comboed off and at least got ourselves into a decent position. Game 2, he just kind of had everything. Is the best way I have to describe it. He was just a turn faster than me. He had the ley lines and stuff like that, just being able to go click, 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 like that. I wasn't able to keep up. It happens. So 1-1 going into the 3rd round. We played against this like weird combo artifact deck. I'm not really sure how to describe it. It's something I've never seen before, and we beat it 2-0. We comboed off turn 4, turn 5 consecutively. In game 1 and 2, and just it was over. I'm not really sure what my opponent was trying to do. I know they were already queued for the RCs, so I think they were just trying to have fun with the day. Then we played Boros in round 4. We beat it 2-0. The power of Wild Growth Walker and Sentinel is just ridiculous. Being able to go into a turn 2 Wild Growth Walker, into a turn 3 Sentinel, and then just keep activating our maps, as well as just having vigilance to apply pressure and get more maps, was huge. I don't think I didn't combo off against them in neither game. I just was throwing Wild Growth Walker and winning the board essentially, it felt great. We won 2-0 with that pretty handily. I don't think the aggro matches are that terrible. I think obviously you need to make sure you bring in removal for their things that are going to stop your life gain and such like that. But outside of that, it's not too hard to beat them. We played Blue-White Control in round 5, our worst matchup by far. That being said, we did win 2-0. I do think that this deck, this version, I think, is built a little bit better for Blue-White Control with having the 3 Sentinels in play. Game 1, I essentially just beat him down. It's a guy I've seen around. We both knew that what decks we were on going into the round, so that did give me a little bit of an edge. It also gave him the same edge in the sense of he knew how to mulligan more aggressively or what he was looking for. But we just kept I kept a creature heavy hand, and I played the beatdown plan. Essentially, I wasn't going for the combo. Obviously, if I could get the combo off and win with it, great. But kept a creature heavy hand. I kept, Sino Scout on turn 1, into a Wild Growth Walker on turn 2, into a Sentinel of the Nameless City, and then was able to hold up mana for Collected Company and Chords and things. And that's kind of just the game plan I went with, where I'm going to beat you down and make you use your 1-for-1 interaction, things like that. And eventually we just ran him out of card advantage. It was a challenge, it was a slog, it was like a 30-minute game 1, but we got there. Game 2 was a lot better for us, ironically. We were able to establish a Grand Abolisher on turn 2, where our opponent was not ready for it. And pretty much Grand Abolisher just kind of kept the game going. At one point in time, I was able to play. I had Grand Abolisher out, and I was able to play an Amalia and pass the turn. And then I was able to combo off on my opponent's, or on my next turn, with having Grand Abolisher out that couldn't interact with my board or interact or play anything. I was able to deal him 20 damage in one go. Obviously, blue-white control is a hard matchup. Don't take that matchup for granted. But being able just to kind of beat them down and be on a more aggro plan in game 1 definitely helps your game 1s out a lot. If you can steal game 1, it's so much easier then to win that matchup. Game 1 is where you kind of want to, sneak it in, take it out, try to get underneath them essentially. But really happy with that. Going into the top 8 then, I played against Gruul aggro. Not too much to say. My opponent tapped out in game 1. I was able to combo off because he tapped out. Obviously, I won that then. I didn't get to attack with Amalia, but being at, 60, 70, 80 life, I don't remember what it was, my mono red opponent, basically, our Gruul opponent's like, yeah, I can't beat that. Go to game 2, and then we just, again, Sentinel and Wild Growth Walker are all-stars. This card is vastly, I think, underplayed in this deck and vastly underutilized. But yeah, between Sentinel, Wild Growth Walker, and then just, little creature beats and instant to life gain, we were able to take it down without trying too hard. Flash forward into top 4, we went and played against Black Red Vampires. In game 1, he just absolutely smoked me. He went Thoughtseize into Vein Ripper, or Stormed into Vein Ripper. Really hard to come back from that when your hand's completely destroyed, and then you also have to deal with a Vein Ripper. So yeah, turn 5 kill. Essentially, we were out of the game. Game 2 went a lot better our way. We were able to, once again, Sentinel and Wild Growth Walker. I cannot speak for how good this combo is. Essentially, we were just being able to stay at board parity, essentially, or, well, not board parity, I should say. We were able to keep up with what he was doing. He didn't have the Vein Ripper on 3, which was really helpful, but we had Sentinel, Wild Growth Walker, and then the removal we boarded in helped us even more. We had, Ruthless Lawbringer we brought in, was great to destroy his Kalidas that he had brought in, things like that. Just, a little bit of removal here and there was what helped seal the game, and then just gaining 3 life a turn is really good against, the mid-range plan. In game 3, we got to a point where we had 2 Wild Growth Walkers and a Sentinel going. He had a Kalidas on board, and we just essentially grew our creatures to be bigger than what he could handle, and we're swinging for lethal. Felt great. Vampires matchups, again, not the greatest matchup for us. Obviously, they play a bunch of removal and such like that, but still felt good overall. And then we lost to Nib to Light in the finals, going 0-2. Game 1 was close. We went back and forth a lot until I drew 6 lands straight and my opponent did not. So it turns out, when you draw all lands, not good. And then game 2, he went, turn 5, it was Omnath into Fetch Land, into Niv, and just buried me in card advantage. Unfortunately, I do think Niv might be my biggest weakness as a Magic player for some reason. I always seem to lose to it. But I do think this deck is great. I think this is something you guys should be taking to your RCQs if you still aren't qualified. Deck feels strong as can be. Overall, and then it is just nice to have an I win button, especially in this metagame right now where we're seeing mono green kind of pop up more. We're seeing some different decks kind of pop up. Vampires is on the rise. This deck can beat vampires. This deck has a problem that a lot of decks have, where Vein Ripper is still a problem for it to answer, and especially game 1. But they're not going to have turn 3 soaring into fame for every game. So like, as long as you're not doing that consistently or whatever, you can still win. I do suggest that if you're playing this deck, play more Sentinels on the Nameless City. Card feels amazing. I've really loved it. But as always, guys, this is what I'm doing. I'm just showcasing different decks, talking about the metagames between Pioneer and Modern. If you like what you're seeing, you like what I'm doing, give me a like. Leave a comment down below if you have any questions, anything you want to talk about with the deck list, or anything like that. Subscribe if you want to keep up with everything, and I'll see you guys next time.